Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed the concept of hybridization and types of hybridization. In the today's class, we are going to discuss the another important theory which is developed based on the quantum mechanical principle, that is molecular orbital theory, simply MOT. So what was the need to discuss this molecular orbital theory? So the valence bond theory can explain how a bond formation takes place by the overlapping of atomic orbitals, and it does not explain any magnetic property of molecules. For example, an oxygen molecule is there, O2 molecule. You know very well, in the oxygen molecule, the two oxygen atoms are bonded together by double bond, and on each oxygen atom, the two lone pair of electrons are present. So the oxygen molecules clearly indicates in that molecule no unpaired electron is present. Once no unpaired electron is present, what we say that this oxygen molecule is said to be diamagnetic, because whenever that unpaired electrons are present, that causes the paramagnetic. So no unpaired electron is present, that is said to be diamagnetic. So that according to valence bond theory, the oxygen molecule is said to be diamagnetic. But the experimental results shown that this oxygen molecule is not diamagnetic, it is paramagnetic and has two unpaired electrons. How many unpaired electrons? Two unpaired electrons are present. So the valence bond theory could not explain how this oxygen molecule is paramagnetic and having two unpaired electrons. That is the limitation of valence bond theory. So to explain this magnetic property or other properties of a molecule, the one more approach of the theory based on the quantum mechanical principle, that is molecular orbital theory. So this molecular orbital theory was developed by the two scientists, one is Wundt and Mulliken. So what are the important silent features of molecular orbital theory? Are the first one, just like an atom, molecule has orbitals of definite energy levels. Like electrons of atoms are present in atomic orbitals, electrons of molecules are also present in different molecular orbitals. So we know very well, in an atom the atomic orbitals are present. These atomic orbitals are different energy. Just like in atom, molecules also having orbitals, they also will be different in energy. The electrons of atoms are filled in the atomic orbitals. That means electrons of an atom are present in atomic orbitals. So same like an atom, the electrons of molecules are present in molecular orbital. That is the first important feature of molecular orbital theory. That means how atomic orbitals are present in atom, molecule also having the molecular orbitals. The electrons of an atom is present in atomic orbitals, whereas the electrons of molecules are present in molecular orbitals. Mostly while writing, so the atomic orbitals, mostly we are using this AOS, MOS is for molecular orbitals. Okay, don't confuse what you mean by AOS or MOS. MOS means molecular orbitals, AO means what is that? Atomic orbitals. The second important feature of molecular orbital theory is molecular orbitals are formed by the combination of atomic orbitals of proper symmetry and comparable energies. Always, so the molecular orbitals are formed by the combining the atomic orbitals. Which atomic orbitals are combining? Which are having the proper symmetry and comparable energy. That means px px, py py or pz pz, like that. and comparable energy. They belongs to the same principal shell. For example, 1s and 2s atomic orbitals are combined. That never resulted into the molecular orbital. So 2s, 1s atomic orbitals are combining, then that will be resulted into the molecular orbitals. That's why molecular orbitals are formed by the combination of atomic orbitals of proper symmetry and comparable energies. This is the second important feature of molecular orbital theory. The third important feature of molecular orbital theory is, so the electrons in the atomic orbital is monocentric, whereas electron in the molecular orbitals or molecules is polycentric. What do you mean by that one? Atom is having only one nuclei, so that's why that electron is under the influence of that nuclei only. But when it comes to the molecule is made up of the combination of atoms. It has more number of nuclei. 2 or more nuclei are present. That's why the electron present in the molecular orbital is under the influence of 2 or more nuclei, that is depending upon the number of atoms present in the molecule. That's why the electron present in the atomic orbital is always said to be monocentric. It is under the influence of only one nuclei. The electron present in the molecular orbital is said to be polycentric. This is under the influence of a group of nuclei, that is depending upon the number of atoms present in a molecule. So that is the third important feature of molecular orbital theory. And the fourth one. So we know that in atomic structure we studied very clearly, this is the probability of electron distribution around the nucleus is given by orbital. So this is the term we are discussed after the Bohr model. So the electron probability distribution around the nucleus in an atom is given by an atomic orbital. Just like that atomic orbital, the electron distribution around a group of nuclei in a molecule is given by the molecular orbital. So what do you mean by the molecular orbital? Molecular orbital is always gives the information about the probability distribution of electron around the group of a nuclei. And the fifth feature of molecular orbital theory is, so the number of molecular orbitals are formed is equal to the number of atomic orbitals combining. So the number of molecular orbitals are formed is equal to the number of atomic orbitals are combining. That means if the two atomic orbitals are combining, how many molecular orbitals are formed? 2 molecular orbitals are formed. What are the 2 molecular orbitals? One is bonding molecular orbital and another one is anti-bonding molecular orbital. So if the 2 molecular orbitals are formed, definitely in that one is bonding and another one is anti-bonding molecular orbital. They are simply written as BMO, ABMO. And the sixth important feature of the molecular orbital theory is, so among the 2 molecular orbitals, that is bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbital, the bonding molecular orbital is always having the low energy, anti-bonding molecular orbital is having the higher energy. So whichever it is having higher energy, that is always said to be less stable. Whichever it is having the less energy, that is always said to be more stable. That's why bonding molecular orbital is having a lower energy, so and hence the greater stability. Whereas corresponding anti-bonding molecular orbital is always having a more energy, so that it has the less stability. And comes to the seventh one. So while after discussing the atomic orbitals, while filling the electrons, we are following the 3 rules there. What are that? Abbo principle, Pauli's exclusive principle and Wundt's rule. So these 3 rules says that, so we have to fill up the electrons in the atomic orbitals, with the increasing order of energy of the orbitals, that is Abbo. After that, Pauli's exclusive principle. Each orbital can accommodate maximum 2 electrons, with opposite spins, right? Then Wundt's rule. So wherever the orbitals are having the same energy, that is the degenerate orbitals are present. In that case, each orbital is first filled with an electron, singly filled. After that only the pairing of electrons takes place. Same like how we are filling the electrons in the atomic orbitals by following these 3 rules. So the same rules we have to be implemented while filling the electrons in the molecular orbitals. So these are the 7 important features of molecular orbital theory. In everywhere he was comparing, okay, the molecular orbital with atomic orbital. So this is the first one. In an atom, the atomic orbitals are present. In molecule, molecular orbitals are present. Electrons of atoms are present in atomic orbital, electrons of molecules present in molecular orbitals, and the molecular orbitals are formed by the combination of atoms, the combination of atomic orbitals which are having the proper symmetry and the comparable energies. The third one is the electron present in an atomic orbital is under the influence of only one nuclei, but whereas the electron present in the molecular orbital is under the influence of 2 or more nuclei, that is depending upon the number of atoms present in the molecule. Always the atomic orbital tells about the probability of electron distribution around the nuclei. Similarly, the molecular orbital is also gives the information about the probability of distribution of electron cloud around a group of nuclei. So the number of molecular orbitals are formed is always equal to the number of atomic orbitals combined. If 2 atomic orbitals are combined, 2 molecular orbitals are formed. They are bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital. So among these two, the bonding molecular orbital is always having the lesser energy and more stability, whereas anti-bonding molecular orbital is always having the higher energy, so that it has the less stability. While filling the electrons in the molecular orbital, so we have to be follow the 3 rules: Abbo principle, Paulus exclusive principle, Wundt's rule, just like as we followed in the atomic orbitals filled with the electrons. So these are the important features of molecular orbital theory. So this theory is also based on the quantum mechanics. You know very well, the atomic orbitals are expressed by the wave functions, that is psi. So what is this wave function? From where did you get? So these wave functions we get from solutions of Schrödinger wave equation. Schrödinger wave equation. This is we learn in the atomic structure. Just like how we can write the Schrödinger wave equation for the atomic orbitals or atoms, similarly we can also write the Schrödinger wave equation for molecules. So for molecules also we need to be write the Schrödinger wave equation. But it is not possible to solve the Schrödinger equation for molecules. In that case, to overcome this problem, the scientists proposed an approximate method, that is LCAO. That is linear combination of atomic orbitals. So what do you mean by this linear combination of atomic orbitals? In this method, the 2 atomic orbitals are brought together by adding or subtracting the wave functions of atomic orbitals. Say, for example, the hydrogen molecule is formed by the combination of 2 hydrogen atoms, say Ha and Hb. So, in that one, each atomic orbital wave functions are psi A and psi B. Whenever the atomic orbitals are combining together, we get which one? Molecular orbital. So, in the linear combination of atomic orbital, the molecular orbitals are obtained by adding or subtracting the wave functions of atomic orbitals. Psi A plus or minus psi b. That will be resulted into the molecular orbital. So generally, whenever the two atomic orbitals are combining, how many molecular orbitals are formed? Two molecular orbitals are formed. What are that? Bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital. So the bonding molecular orbital is formed by, that is psi MO is equal by, obtained by adding the wave functions of the atomic orbitals which are combining. So anti-bonding molecular orbital is formed by, that is we generally represent it with psi star MO is equal the subtracting the wave functions of the atomic orbital, that is psi a minus psi b. So when we have added the wave functions of the atomic orbital, that will be resulted into the bonding molecular orbital. The anti-bonding molecular orbital is formed by the subtracting the wave functions of the atomic orbitals which are involved. So that is psi star MO is equal to psi a minus psi b. Here, whatever the bonding molecular orbital is formed, that is psi MO, is always having the less energy than either of the two atomic orbitals, psi a or psi b. So because it is corresponding to the greater stability, that's why it is having the lower energy than either of the atomic orbital wave function from which it is formed. The anti-bonding molecular orbital is always said to be having the higher energy than the either of the atomic orbitals from which it is formed, psi a or psi b. So this is another important point. So that means the energy of bonding molecular orbital, or simply we can also write is energy of bonding molecular orbital is always less than the energy of either of two atomic orbitals, either A or B. Whereas in this case, energy of anti-bonding molecular orbital is always greater than the energy of either of atomic orbitals. So like that, the two molecular orbitals are formed by the linear combination of atomic orbitals wave functions. So suppose if you are added the wave function of the two atomic orbitals, that will be resulted into the bonding molecular orbital, and the anti-bonding molecular orbital is obtained by the subtracting the wave function of the atomic orbitals. So when we see the energy level diagram, so for these two bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbitals, say, so this is that represents energy, and here atomic orbitals, here atomic orbitals, the molecular orbitals we write form. So now here one atomic orbital, here one atomic orbital, say psi A, this is psi B. So the bonding molecular orbital is always having the lower energy than the either of the atomic orbital. This is bonding and this is anti-bonding molecular orbital. What is bonding molecular orbital? Psi MO is equal. How it is obtained? By addition of the wave function of the two atomic orbitals, psi A plus psi B. Whereas, this is for example I write here. Whereas the anti-bonding molecular orbital, that is psi star MO is equal to psi A minus psi B. The subtraction of the wave function of the atomic orbitals is resulted into the anti-bonding molecular orbital, and moreover this anti-bonding molecular orbital is always having the greater energy than either of the atomic orbital. So it is indicates the energy is increases. So it is more energy, it is a less energy as compared to their atomic orbitals. Like that we can write this energy level diagram. Energy level diagram. Like that we can draw for bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbital, right? Like this atomic orbitals and right here atomic orbitals. That means whatever we are represented in this line, whatever represent all are atomic orbitals. Here also atomic orbitals. These atomic orbitals are combining either by subtraction or addition, that will be resulted into the bonding and anti-bonding orbital. They will be written in the middle like this. These are the represents the molecular orbitals. Like that we can draw the energy level diagram. So the formation of bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital can also be explained in terms of constructive and destructive interference. Based on this property also we can try to explain how the bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbital is formed. The first one is, once we take into the account of this constructive interference. During the constructive interference, the two waves are in the same phase. The amplitude of the waves get added up. The resulting wave function has more electron density between the nucleus, that will be resulted into the bonding molecular orbital. So, say for example, these are the two atomic orbital wave functions. So both the crests are in the same side. Okay, the troughs are in that. Okay, next crest. That means if this is like it is there, that is said to be waves are in the same phase. And these are the amplitudes. For example, this amplitude is A and this amplitude is B. Then, when the two waves are in the same phase, then the added up is there. The two amplitudes are added. The resulting amplitude is, that is A plus B, that is greater than either A or B. So that is always resulted into the formation of which one? Bonding molecular orbital. That can be clearly indicates the more amount of the electron density is present between the nuclei. And the second one is anti-bonding molecular orbital formation can be explained in terms of destructive interference. During the destructive interference, the two waves are not in the same phase, they are in out of phase. When they are in the out of phase, sometimes the amplitude waves are subtracted or sometimes cancelled. That will be resulting into the wave function has the less electron density between the nucleus, or sometimes zero electron density between the nuclei. Whenever the zero electron density present between the nuclei, that will be gives rise to presence of a nodal plane. Wherever the nodal plane is present, there the probability of finding the electron density is 0. So this is happened when during the destructive interference. What do you mean by destructive interference? What is the condition? The two waves are in out of phase. See here. So here up the crust is there, then here trough is there. So these two amplitudes are, for example, here this is A and this is B. If the same amplitude is there, A and A, that will be cancelled. So the cancelled means that will be resulting the zero electron density between the nuclei. So that is always corresponding to the formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital. Suppose if A and B are not equal, there is small difference in the value, then the amplitude of the waves will be subtracted. So A minus B, that means we are getting the less amplitude than either A or B. So that is also will be refers to the formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital having the less electron density between the nuclei. That's why. So the bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbitals are formed by the constructive interference or destructive interference. That means whenever the two waves are in the same phase, the resultant amplitude is more than either amplitude of A or B. So that can be refers to the formation of bonding molecular orbital, and also refers to having the more electron density between the nuclei. So if the psi A and psi B, the two wave functions or the two waves are in the opposite phase, that is out of phase is there. So the amplitudes are sometimes subtracted, sometimes cancelled. Cancelled means whenever the amplitudes are the values are same and they are in the out of phase, the cancelled, that will be resulted into the electron density 0 between the nuclei. If the two amplitudes, okay, of the waves which are in the out of phase are not equal to the same value, then the amplitudes are subtracted. We are getting in a value, that value is less than either A or B. So either less than A or less than B is clearly indicates the less electron density is present between the nuclei. These two are refers to the formation of anti-bonding molecular orbital. So like that also we can explain the formation of bonding and anti-bonding molecular orbital. And one more important factor that is we know very well. So the psi square. What is psi square? The psi square is always refers to the probability density is given around the nuclei is given by the psi square in atomic orbital. So the same thing we can also apply for the molecular orbital. So here molecular orbitals are two types, bonding molecular orbital, anti-bonding molecular orbital. How the bonding molecular orbital is formed? The bonding molecular orbital is formed by the addition of the two wave functions. That is psi molecular orbital is equal to psi A plus psi B. So to find out the probability density, okay, in a molecular orbital, we need to be square it is. Psi square MO is equal to psi A plus psi B whole square. Then psi MO square is equal to, when you are expanded, it is psi A square plus psi B square plus 2 psi A psi B. So generally, so what is the probability of electron density present in a molecular orbital? It means we need to be added the two atomic orbitals probable density, that is psi A square plus psi B square is equal to psi MO square. But did you get that one? No. In addition to that one, we are also getting the 2 psi A psi B. This is clearly indicates the probability of finding the electron density in molecular orbital is greater than by an amount equal to 2 psi A psi B. That means in bonding molecular orbital, always finding the electron density is more than either of the atomic orbitals. How much it is greater? That is by quantity that is equal to the 2 psi A psi B. Similarly, for anti-bonding molecular orbital also, to find out the probability density, we need to be square it. Psi star square MO is equal to psi A minus psi B whole square. Then psi star square MO is equal to psi A square plus psi B square minus 2 psi A psi B. So generally, to find out the probability density in anti-bonding molecular orbital is equal to, generally what we write, the sum of the probability of electron density in the two atomic orbitals, that is psi A square plus psi B square is equal to psi star square MO. That is you can write. But in addition to that, what is there here? Minus 2 psi A psi B. This is clearly indicates the probability of finding the electron density in anti-bonding molecular orbital is less than the either of the atomic orbitals, either psi A square plus psi B square. Then that is by how much amount? That is again equal to the 2 psi A psi B. So this is clearly indicates the probability of finding the electrons in anti-bonding molecular orbital is always less than the either of the atomic orbitals. So the two are. So here for bonding molecular and anti-bonding molecular orbital the same quantity, but it is less than by amount of equal to is how much? 2 psi A psi B. It is greater than by amount of equal to 2 psi A psi B. So in bonding molecular orbital, the probability of finding the electron density is more than we are comparing with either of the atomic orbital. So whereas in the anti-bonding molecular orbital, the probability of finding the electron density is less than either of the two atomic orbitals involved in the combining. So like that we can also express the probability density in bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital in mathematical way. So this is about the silent features of molecular orbital theory and how they are explained, the formation of a bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital.